Welcome back. There's pain at the pumps as the fuel price soared to over 18 rand a litre on Wednesday. Part of the increase was due to increased fuel taxes. Now, Cosatu wants those taxes reviewed. It also wants a price cap on fuel. To discuss this, we are joined by Cosatu's Matthew Parks from Cape Town. Mr. Parks, good morning. Thank you for joining us and for your time this morning. So 18 rand, over 18 rand a litre, that is quite high. I think consumers across South Africa and small businesses really are feeling the pinch. We've been in the midst of unrest that's also had a very big impact on our economic situation, and now the fuel price. Can you give us an idea? This fuel price cap was first mooted by former Energy Minister Jeff Radebe in October 2018, and the department had confirmed that they were considering it, but that's 3 years since then. What's happened to discussions around a price fuel cap in the interim?
Yes, no, thanks. And look, our interest as Cosatu is that, as you're saying, the fuel price, it hits workers, it hits the economy. It means a retail worker going to work in a taxi has to pay more on taxi fare. It means a teacher has to spend more money out of a salary on petrol. It means food becomes more expensive. So, and really, it suffocates the economy when we're in our deepest recession in 100 years. And you're right. In 2018, the Minister of Energy, then Jeff Radebe, had announced they're going to look at a fuel cap, that there's going to be a study of the entire fuel price regime because it's quite a complex multi-tiered regime. But basically, about half of your fuel price goes to these taxes, most of which goes to fund the road accident fund. We were promised this report in 2019, January, have never seen it. Government has kept quiet. Yet the fuel price keeps increasing and it suffocates everybody. It really makes it impossible for the economy to grow when you most need growth. But at the heart of the problem is the road accident fund. The road accident fund deficit currently, which fuels these huge increases, is over 300 billion rand. So that's the largest debt exposure to the state and to the country outside of ESCOM. It's largely caused because the road accident fund is incompetently managed, is poorly managed for many years, but also the system for claiming for road accidents is managed by road accident lawyers who basically profiteer. They charge exorbitant rates. They cream the road accident fund at huge amounts, most of which the money doesn't actually go to the road accident victims themselves, but it goes to these lawyers. A couple of years ago, the Department of Transport tabled 2 bills to replace and overhaul the road accident fund scheme and basically to remove the lawyers from the equation. So the money must go straight to the claimants who actually need the money and not to fund these lawyers who want to sustain their luxury lifestyle. Amazingly, Parliament rejected these 2 bills. We suspect there was something else at play because the road accident lawyers were lobbying extremely hard to stop it. But our point basically is let's release that report from government. Let's see how we can change the current fuel levy system to make it more affordable to workers and to the poor and to the economy. But let's get these 2 bills to overhaul the road accident fund back to Parliament so we can put it back on a sustainable footing. Because right now, 300 billion rand is a huge liability for the state, and you can't keep increasing the fuel price levy to sustain it, because all you're going to do is to make sure the economy doesn't grow and workers really struggle to get to work and to buy food.
300 billion rand, that doesn't happen overnight. How's it taken so long for this to get so bad and nothing has been done about it in the meantime? I know we're looking at reviewing those bills, getting the structure changed, as you just said, so that the money goes directly to the claimants. But, I mean, obviously, in the meantime, South Africans are paying out of their pockets for a fund that's not going to the people who need those funds. It's ludicrous.
No, exactly. It is ludicrous. It's a bizarre thing in government where bills, policies, they stay in government departments and they die there quietly. No one can explain why. It's across government departments. I think in this instant, though, there was something underhand that must have taken place at Parliament. It doesn't make sense why the Department of Transport can table these bills after huge effort, after many years of work, and the Parliament just simply rejects it out of hand. But that's water under the bridge now. What is needed now is for the Minister of Transport, Fikile Mbalula, to bring these bills back to Parliament by no later than the end of this year, and for Parliament to ensure they pass these bills by next year. These things do take time, but as you said, this has been going for years and years and years. We need to get a hold of the situation. We can't continue to sustain this. And either options of the state bailing out the road accident fund for 300 billion rand is unsustainable. Equally, it's not possible, sustainable, or morally correct to dump the price tag for this incompetence, for the fleecing of the road accident fund by lawyers at the expense of workers and consumers and the economy. But also, having said that, we do need to get people out of cars into public transport. Because what's happened right now, you've seen the metro rail, which transports millions of workers in the cities, has to all intents and purposes collapsed on many of its lines, especially in Cape Town during this pandemic. We need to fix metro rail so you can get workers and commuters onto metro rail, which is far cheaper. It eases congestion on the roads, means less people are dependent upon the fuel price. We need to also look at what can we do to expand the public bus network. But equally, we need to have a conversation to say what support can we give to the taxi industry, which really is the backbone of commuter traffic. Can we give them some subsidies? But in exchange, can we get the taxi industry to agree to obey by the rules of the country, the traffic laws, to avoid the violence you've seen in Cape Town, etc.? That can help to ease the people's dependence upon petrol, etc. It can give some relief. We can't sustain everybody driving to work in their cars. It's not sustainable. It creates huge pressure on the road network and congestion and traffic gridlock, etc. So it's a multi-tiered approach we need to have, but government has to move with speed. Government moving at the speed of a snail.
Unfortunately, consumers are between a rock and a hard place. My apologies for interrupting you there. Unfortunately, that is where we're going to have to leave it. Amendments to the fuel levies, reworking of our public transport system. All of these things take time, but at the moment, it's all in a shambles. Hopefully, we'll see some progress there in months to come.